Hi, Rugby community. You are watching and or listening to MrShowTym from Newcastle, South Africa. In this particular video, I'd like to do a response video from one of these rugby review channels, and that goes by the name of Rugby Brew. How's it, brew? Right? So he did a video talking about how World Rugby is so like doing the tier 2 nations grimy. Now, I sort of half agree and half disagree with his sentiments. He basically said that, you know, World Rugby isn't paying enough attention to the tier 2 teams, and it's well, I I agree with him when he said that, World Rugby shouldn't be taking down video clips of people who are trying to share their videos, because if you want to expand and grow the game, you should allow people to share these highlights on their social media platforms for people in other regions of the world that traditionally they don't play rugby, such as Northern Africa, South America, Asia, right? Fair point. I mean, how is rugby gonna grow if there's not enough exposure on social media? He said. I agree with that. What I don't. Oh, and he also said that the tier 2 teams were made to just play relentlessly against these strong tier 1 nations, and the guys, the tier 2 guys, they easily tire out when they're scrummaging against strong, experienced tier 1 teams, and they take a beatings. They can see these cricket scores, 96-0, 56-10, Wallabies, right? Or what is it, 47, right? I know Wallabies are a tier 1 nation, but you get the point. Other teams are just being made to just play relentlessly. They're in tough groups. For example, Romania at this time, they've already played their 4 matches without any wins. They just made teammates to play. They had these fierce, tough games, and while some teams they get a bye, like Scotland, they get weeks off. Fair point. It's almost as if World Rugby just wants to, quickly do away with these teams. Like, okay, yeah, we know we can lose, just, yeah, bye. Here's where I disagree. The reality of it is World Rugby, they invest millions of dollars and, pounds in maintaining the rugby industry. A lot goes into, hosting a test match, countries maintaining and running rugby franchises, clubs, teams, millions and millions of rands. So obviously World Rugby is going to invest where the money is at. Now, relax, I'll circle it back. I'm not out here crapping on tier 1, tier 2 I'm not out here crapping on tier 2 teams without reason. Actually, I'm not crapping on them at all, because look, it's not World Rugby's responsibility to uphold the tier 2 teams and give them exposure if there's no fan base. Okay? Because that's where it all stems from, the fan base. It's not World Rugby's responsibility to build a rugby nation from scratch. I mean, the whole reason why the Springboks, SA Rugby, is what it is as big and as prominent, and we are as successful as we are, is because of passion. It's the country's individual responsibility, individual countries' responsibility to build their test teams. How do they do that? Via a fan base, passion, investment. I mean, prior to 1995, the Springboks were just, another average team that happened to be in World Rugby. Although we didn't compete at the time because of, political reasons. But it was because of 95. We won in 95. That's how SA Rugby grew, because of the passion, the people, the story. We have a legacy behind SA Rugby because of what we achieved back in 1995. And that led to, another successful Rugby World Cup in 2007 and in 2019 and so forth. And hopefully we'll repeat it this time again. Same goes for New Zealand. World Rugby never came to New Zealand, to the All Blacks, and say, we're going to build you up. We're going to just prop you up and uphold. No. It's New Zealand prioritizing and making rugby sort of like a religion over there in New Zealand. Same goes for in England. That's where rugby started. You know the story of Webb Ellis. Rugby is also. I'm sure in England they favor football or soccer, football higher. They rank football higher than rugby. In Australia, not so much. This is not the case. Don't be fooled by the full crowd attendance in Suncorp Stadium or AMI Stadium or wherever, in Perth or wherever. In Australia, part of the reason why Rugby Australia has collapsed. Yes, they've had their time in the spotlight. They've won 2 World Cups, one in 91 and the other one in 99. But part of the reason why Rugby Australia is failing and it's crumbling is because the Wallabies aren't championed in Australia. They're not the most prominent sport. Do you know what the people of Australia really like? They like Australian rules football, which is a different brand of rugby altogether. Different rules, and the NRL, different rules, it's totally different. Rugby league, and when it comes to, World Rugby, the Australians, they don't care as much. They don't care as much for, Super Rugby. So it all starts with the fan base. How do you build a test team up? You start with the fan base. How do you do that? You win test matches. How do you win test matches? Get some passion behind the game in that particular country. Same goes for all other countries as well. Another point I'd like to talk about is a lot of people. I'm all for holding referees accountable, especially when they're refereeing, a match that involves the Springboks, because sometimes those 50-50 calls tend to go against us. Now look, people have been. I heard Ben O'Keefe made an apology about the outcome of the match, and I'm like, look, Ben O'Keefe did not need to make an apology out of the outcome of that match. Look, as a Springbok, as a South African, we lost fair and square. Most of the calls were fair. Maybe except for that last one, where it was like, that line out in the end, or was that maul, and then the ball, the maul collapsed, and then the ball didn't come out, so we had to call it. Maybe it's because Ben O'Keefe never saw the ball come out, because I think it was Dion Fourie. He had the ball under in his arm like this, but Ben O'Keefe was standing on the opposite side, so maybe he didn't see. That's why he was saying, like, okay, you called it. But throughout the match, Ben O'Keefe was fair. Unlike those previous French referees such as, what's his name, Romain Poit, Jerome Cassez. Yeah, those MFers, we're glad they're gone. To be honest, Ben O'Keefe and Angus Gardner are 2 of the most fairest referees left since the departure of Nigel Owens. So I'm not gonna blame. There's nothing to blame with the outcome of the Springboks versus Irish match. Ben O'Keefe was pretty much fair. Now, another point I'd like to talk about is, yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, rugby is growing, just not in the way that you may want it, not at the fast pace that you may want it, how some may want it, but it is growing. I mean, with each World Cup, I am watching and I am seeing some of these rugby review channels. There's guys from New Zealand, 2 Cents Rugby. There's another guy that goes by the name of the Black Jersey. There's another guy from England. His name is Egg Chasers Rugby. And obviously now I met Rugby Brew, who's also a fellow South African. But he's not, he doesn't reside in South Africa. He said he's over there in California. Right? And obviously we're saddened by the passing of Gary Mason. I'm not sure exactly what happened to him, but he's no longer with us. And there's also another guy in the United States, Fair Weather Rugby. There's another Asian guy from Australia, Wildcard. Who else? There's another guy here in South Africa, Rugby Peter Eater. I'll link their channels in the description so you guys can check them out. If we talk about wanting to grow rugby, let's do it ourselves. Let's promote each other. Let's give each other shout outs. Okay? Hopefully the YouTube algorithm will be fair and they'll show us in various parts of the world and we get to know each other. Right? Yeah. Whenever I do my rugby review channels, I always like to wear my Varsity Cup jersey. This is a jersey that I earned in the when I was still in university in 2016. I play my heart out for this jersey. Okay, the Orange Army, UJ, University of Johannesburg. See, Varsity Cup, right? And I've played mostly on the wing, but I've also played fly half because I can kick. Perhaps, Jacques needs, the Springboks needs to fly me out there for kicking purposes. I've played mostly on the wing, but I've also interchanged, to fly half after half time, And then this one is my high school jersey. I've also played rugby in high school. Right? So yeah, these are my prized possessions when it comes to rugby. These are my rugby jerseys. I know I'm not wearing my Springbok jersey. Currently, it is not with me. It is not near. But that's a different story. I enjoy, especially, I value this jersey. Because I've shed blood in this jersey. Not necessarily my blood, but, my opponent's blood. I don't know how it happened. Throughout the match, you're squabbling, you're tussling. And the next thing you know, you see someone else's blood here. Obviously, I had to wash it. I remember. I had to wash it. It was all dirty. Hey, listen, we tussle in rugby, okay? But yeah, this is my most prized possession when it comes to rugby. We are the Orange Army. So yeah, pleasure to meet all you gentlemen in the rugby community, right? I watch a lot of your take. I may not comment on everyone's video because I just simply download it and I just watch it in a different time. But yeah, it's a pleasure meeting a lot of you gentlemen. Yeah, you also talked about Rugby Brew. Also talked about reach, because in America, the people they don't have DSTV. In America, I think you guys have TiVo. Here in South Africa, we have DSTV, Super Sport. So we get to watch the matches live, and the Americans, they have to watch it through a paid live streaming service. Hey, Ask your service provider to, enable Super Sports or Sky Sports or Fox Sports or whichever, right? But anyway, it's a pleasure meeting you, gentlemen, and yeah, like and share this video, and yeah, all the best to the Springboks. I'm not really worried about that match. I know the Springboks gonna win. We just have to win with the bonus points, just to be on the safe side. Because Scotland is probably not going to beat Ireland. They're not. I know a lot of people have been talking up. Oh, Scotland, nah. Scotland is weak this time around. So all the Boks need to do at this point is just get out of the pool. Just bulldoze Tonga with the bonus points and concede less, and then we should be through. But yeah, I'll see you later, and thanks for watching. Cheers.